All right. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Yep, hey, you're looking good. You haven't got the sunburn yet, have you?
You know, just a few places. My nose is kind of taking a beating, but other than that, I'm okay.
Well, we feel sorry for you, Steve.
I knew you would.
That's good. Enjoy.
Where you at in Florida?
We are at Siesta Key.
Oh, I love, it's a nice place.
We love it here. Yeah.
I think.
All right, Steve, can you hear us okay?
I got you. Yep. Real good.
All right, very good. Okay, we're gonna start this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Doug, if you would start us with a prayer, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's bow our heads in an attitude of prayer. Lord, help us to be peacemakers in our relationships, our communities, and the world around us. Give us hearts that value unity over division, humility over pride, and love over resentment. Let our actions reflect your peace so that others may see you in us and be drawn to the true peace that only you can give. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve.
And
All right, well, we've got Steve tuning in virtually, so we appreciate that. Taking time out of his sun and sand
Steve Bailey.
and salt water.
Steve Bailey.
Or Steve, yeah. Who did I say?
Coon.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I've been called worse.
Is there a time delay on this? No. Anyway, and Tony is not available today, so Angie is taking over as our recording duties of the author. So, looking at the minutes from March 17th, 2026, did you guys have a chance to take a look at those?
Steve, I did, and I saw no additions or corrections. I emailed that back to the auditor's office at this point in time.
Yeah, I saw something. I should have reached out to Angie. Maybe this has already been corrected, but we need to fill in the amount for the insurance claim. I believe it was the health insurance claim was blank on the copy that I saw anyway.
Yes, there was none last week.
Okay.
He should have wiped that out. We did on the original.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so do we need to consider that amended, or was that as off?
It is off before you sign it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay,
That being said, Steve, I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
okay, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Angie, what else do you have for us today?
Okay, we have several things. We do have this week the Allied Weekly insurance claims, and that's in the amount of $36,568.45 for the invoice date of 3/23/26.
Okay,
I move, Steve, that we approve the weekly insurance claims for $36,568.45, right, Angie?
Yes.
yep,
Second.
all right. Steve, if there's anything of this that you want to look at, let me know.
I'll do it. Thank you.
All right. Okay,
We have an invoice from 3/19 for our weekly RX insurance claims. And that is this is for prescriptions, and it's $54,530.01.
okay,
Sit by that amount again, Angie.
$54,530.01.
Go ahead, Steve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
We have payroll time card approval for 3/13 of this year, and that amount is,
Shouldn't be an amount, just
it's
times.
just time,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it's just time cards.
Okay,
Yep.
I looked over those. I have no problem with the time card. Times turned in. I move that we approve.
A second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Get those signed. All right.
We have payroll claims for 3/13 of 26 for $399,464.06.
I think everyone's paid, Steve. Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve.
Is that
Second.
07, Stan, 07 at the end?
06.
Oh, six, so I didn't.
399, 464, 06.
Steve made motion on second, Stan.
Okay, motion carries to approve payroll claims for 3/13 of 26.
We have utilities paid in lieu for 3/19 of 26 with a total of $43,744.87.
Steve, I don't have any problem with utilities. We need to pay them for 43,744.87, right, Angie? 43,744.87. I moved that we do.
I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Motion carries to approve utility claims.
Okay, we've got weights and measures monthly report from February the 16th to March 15th with 49 correct. Yep, no rejections, no red tags.
Very good.
Yep.
Do you want to see that, Steve, or you?
No, I'm fine with that. When there were no, when it's
It's
all clean, I'm
pretty-
good.
Pretty
Make a
straightforward.
motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to enter that into our record.
We have animal shelter report for March of this year. We have no adopted cats, no claimed cats. Cats transferred was 3. Cats they still have is 4. Dogs adopted was 2. Dogs claimed was 1. Dogs transferred was 6.
So they still have 4 cats and no dogs, so.
Yeah, well, I'm always amazed at the animal control report, which actually includes Decatur and Bern. And I'm always amazed that our report shows such few animals. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Paws group that's local that takes care of a lot of our unwanted pets. But again, I'm amazed at this report, Steve. I move that we accept.
I agree. We get a lot of help with that. And obviously that's a big challenge for anybody. But I think our folks, with the resources that we have, I think they do a really good job. So I'm going to second that motion.
Do you want to take both reports together or just the shelter?
What do you got, the
That was-
mileage too? Is that what you're
I've
talking?
got, the next is control. That was the shelter.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I think we can take both reports together, Stan. Steve, are you
Okay.
all right with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, all right, motion carries.
I think the auditors cleaned out.
All right. Thank you, Angie. Very good. Nate, what do you have for us today?
Morning, Nate.
Good morning.
I would remind Steve that you're down in Florida, and two Indiana schools ended Miami's college football and college basketball, so might want to watch your back down there.
Don't,
Uh,
don't wear any IU garb.
Don't wear any IU or Purdue garb right now, I suppose. No, a couple of updates. Road school was very good this year. A couple sessions I wish I'd been in, but kind of full calendar for us down there. I know Brad and Paul in different sessions. I think we only were in the same session twice in the whole week there. So we got a lot of variety of different classes and different updates and information from both the state and the university. So into my notes for you, Bridge 31. This is the bridge carrying County Road 900 North over the St. Mary's River between Winchester Road and US 27. Pretty big river bridge for us. Pioneer Associates is scheduled to begin their work for partial deck and joint repair on this Friday, March 27th. So for about 2 weeks, they're going to have that bridge closed to through traffic. Local traffic will be able to get in, but through traffic won't be able to. For comparison, I did look at the most recent traffic data that we had out there from 2025. That's going to impact about 220 commuters that make it each way. So you get about 220 one way and the other. So that's going to impact some drivers, but it's just going to be that closer. We're not planning on any full detour routes or anything else as far as signage. It's just extra cost for a preventative maintenance project of that size. So
Do you have any idea how that coincides with the closing of the road up by Winnicott? Not that they directly impact each other, but because the sewer district's going across.
this will actually push a little bit of traffic towards 350 West. So the alternate bridge cross or river crossings are going to be the bridge on 27 down at the north end of Decatur and that 350 West bridge that goes right at Winnicott actually. So you're going to have a little more traffic, whether depending on where they're crossing, they're going to go north and up to that crossing, get on the 27, or they'll end up coming south into Decatur and make that crossing to get it.
Do we
get over
know
the
how
river.
long they're gonna have that closed?
2 weeks. So
Specifically, what are
Not
they gonna
this
be
one,
doing?
but the one up by Winnicott.
No.
that one, I don't have the schedule for that one. I'd have
You
to
know,
talk
Mark,
to
did they say anything
Nathan Shear.
Oh, what?
that sewer district's got working at the 350 West up behind Winnicott? I know they got the road closed right now, but because this is gonna start March 27th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that one's been closed for about a week, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm sure they're working up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be active on that one. This one here is just the partial deck patching and joint repair. So we've got a joint on the east side that needs to be cut out, new steel edges on it and a pre-compressed foam joint put in place. And there's some delaminated concrete on the deck that's gonna be hand chipped out, cut clean, and then they're gonna put that in with a ready mix, like an E5 ready mix concrete. And that's part of the reason for the 14 days is I need about 7 days for cure time for that concrete before I get traffic on it.
And this all hinges back to the Long Bridge inspection and recommendation.
Yep. So we go through certain items on the inspection report. Brad volunteers to help me out. We go out and chain the decks looking for hollow areas in the bridge deck. And that's what we're scheduling some repair work. We did a similar patch project on the bridge on Washington Street there on the next to Hannah Nutman Park in Decatur. So we're changing a few things on how we're doing that, learning from that experience and on others. We did one on Salem Road just this end of last year as well. So I'm hoping to do 1 to 2 of these every year and try to extend the lives of those decks. So, but I sent a notice out to the media as well as the school districts. And I'm trying to make sure everybody is aware of this because it'll be closed when school buses go back to school on Monday. So that's, I'm trying to make sure everybody knows about it well in advance because there's going to have to be some adjustments for that 2-week period.
Okay, and Brad, Highway Department's responsible for putting road closed signs up and all that stuff?
Nope, contractors, it's part of their bid
Oh,
for
okay.
for the closure signage.
Okay,
So,
Nate and Brad, one of the things that we're working on at EMA, Megan at EMA is working on is that county app that will help us really, I hope and think that will really help us communicate items like this out to the public in a timely manner. So it's not ready quite yet, but I think we're weeks versus months away from having a communication tool that all the county residents can download and have an immediate push notice out that says that that road would be closed. And again, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but I'm hopeful that that'll really help us improve communication with our residents.
No, I appreciate that. And actually, I had neglected to send that email to Megan, so I'm gonna correct that and get her a copy of that when I get back to the office.
Good deal.
I copied everybody else, but you picked the exact person I forgot to email, so there you go. Second item here is just some small structure inspections. You may notice this week, Jansen Spawns is gonna be out doing small structure inspections in Kirkland and Washington Township. Should be this week. I don't think they're gonna even be into next week. There may be partial lane closures as far as their work, but they're just gonna be parked on the side of the road. So if anybody sees a crew out with a truck gawking and taking pictures at certain culverts around, that's what they're doing. They're just gonna be in those two townships this year. It's part of the 6-year rotation for us to do those inspections.
And
So,
just for the public that might be
Yep.
tuning in, a small structure is considered 20 feet or less?
yep, 20, less than 20 feet. So 19.99 down, and we only inspect the 48-inch diameter pipes, and that's just as an economic decision. Between Brad and Paul, we identified any of those structures that are smaller than that. It's not worth spending $1,000 to inspect those when the pipes are so economically cheap to replace.
And just again, for the public, just to be aware, how many small structures we're dealing with in this county is
Oh, my goodness.
approximately,
That's a great quiz question. There's over 1,000 small structures
Right.
in the county. We don't inspect all 1,000 of them when they're down to 6 and 12-inch pipes because they do impact the roadway. But we've got about 400 of them in this inspection rotation. That's why we take 6 years to do
right?
those.
And while we're on this topic, how many large structures do we have?
The bridge is 164.
So that's a lot
So
of work. And hats off to Nate, because he's in charge of bridges. It's one thing we don't have to get involvement with other than,
no, I appreciate the trust, and certainly we're trying to show a good example of it, get some good schedules as far as what we're trying to deal with. So. yeah.
Well, and I think we probably don't have very many, if any, bridges that are load limited.
No, we're down to just a few load rated small structures. I'm afraid I'm gonna have another load rated small structure coming in next year, but it's because we've been slowly trying to get the right of way established, but out of an abundance of caution, I think I'm gonna post it until I can get the right of way and get the replacement schedule, which probably won't be right now until 2028. So just because of where I'm at on the schedule, the program. So, but no, just an update for people.
and
So if
one
you
more
see 'em out-
comment,
Yep.
and my hat's off to you, Nate. One thing that you don't hear on the radio much, or you don't read in the newspaper much, other than planned closures, is in Adams County, we have very few bridges closed that buses can't go over for school corporations to deal with, Steve, and I know we discussed that personally before.
We have, and again, Nate, and Brad both, you know, we are fortunate to have you guys looking over these, our roads and our structures for us. I know we have to close a road once in a while, but you know, the long-term gain out of that short-term pain, I think is we have a transportation system in Adams County that's really, really solid. So thanks, guys.
No, thank you very much. I'd like to take more credit for it, but you know, my predecessor and Brad's been there certainly longer to try to provide a good system for us. So kudos to all of them.
Yeah.
Nope. Up. And then lastly here, just kind of an update for you. I know we've talked about the local road safety plan and what's in that and what does that do. I just have a set of bullet points for you all. I'm not going to read them all, but those are the action items at the end of the local road safety plan. We've talked about it for well over a year at this point. The reason we're not presenting it for updates, one is Steve's in Florida right now. I wanted to wait until he got back. And then two, we're still waiting on the crash tree, which just goes through the types of accidents we have in the county, the quantities. There's going to be an update with the 2025 data. I have some of that information, but I don't have the full information to fill out that report. So I want to get the latest info, and I'm hoping to have
Will
that in
that
the
take
next
us up
month.
to the end of 25?
That'll take us through 25. Yep. So that's what I'm hoping for, is to have that update. I mean, the high points on this, what this plan establishes is an annual stakeholder meeting. And that is the commissioners, the highway department and the sheriff's office to sit down and go through, what are we seeing within the crash data? What are the priority projects? How do we want to do both construction, enforcement and funding? That's kind of the layout of that. Once a year, sit down and have that discussion and to look at what our responses are going to be. And so there's,
Do you see that happening in a special meeting or in this meeting?
it would be a special meeting. I think that's it. There's no any reactions as far as projects or funding that are going to happen would end up happening in this meeting. So that's going to be where we as a focus group say, hey, here's what we want to do. If the commissioners want to have additional parties in it, but I think a small group is going to be key to lay out, here's what we're looking at and why,
So,
what is our
Mark, would that be
schedule is.
executive session or would that be an open special meeting?
Mark, what is it?
For the
Just a-
road safety plan.
Their annual local road safety plan stakeholder meeting.
Yeah,
If you have two or more commissioners in that meeting,
yeah, that'd be regular. That's not an executive session.
Regular open meeting.
okay, you could have those at that point, do those as open meeting. Okay. So unless you had designees, then we could have that as an executive, essentially just a committee meeting at that point. So, but no,
Okay.
that's sort of the information for today. Any other questions?
Well, if you kind of, I assume you'd be the one to call that meeting?
Yep, once we get
Or
that
to-
established, or we'll set some
Yeah.
schedules. I've got an idea as far as when I'd like to try to do that annually.
Gotcha.
But we'll set that up once we act on this, would be essentially setting the meeting up for 2027. That's just
Okay.
be the plan is try to set it up on that annual basis.
Good.
Thanks, Nate. I
Thank you.
move that we accept Nate's engineer's report, Steve.
Second.
All right.
Was that a motion, Doug?
Yes, that's a motion.
Then you've got a second.
The one thing that's interesting too, that Nate's been looking at, we have our asset management plan, but also an asset improvement plan. And when you look at the dollar amount of the assets that we have in bridges and small structures, it's huge. And so, we have to appreciate and understand it. Sorry to take your time, Brad, but yeah.
You're all right.
Yeah.
I'm in no hurry.
Yep. So you went down to road school also?
Yeah, Paul, Nate and I went. Doug came down one day. So they're getting, like Nate said, it's like normal. You have some classes that are really good, you take something out of, and other ones are just informative.
Yeah.
But yeah, the contacts we made when we were down there were very good. Yes.
Yeah.
I did what both Nate and Brad mentioned. Purdue Road School's always got good sessions. And you might run into one out of five that you have a tendency to drift off a little bit, but overall, well worth our time and energy.
And some year
Usually-
I'd invite all of you to come down, maybe not at the same
Yeah.
time, but because it happens on a commissioner day, but
I came down, I don't know if it was last year, but I didn't.
I think it was a couple years ago.
Couple years. ago,
Yeah. Yep.
The toughest sessions were always right after lunch.
Yeah. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Have a couple permits today. Both of them, oh, no, that's, I can drink. So the first one is Indiana and Michigan Power on 800 North between 300 East and State Road 101. They are replacing the poles in that whole distance, basically.
Okay,
Just replacing what's already there. It's not new, just new replacement. I went up and drove it, and there again, they're really good about staying in the same, basically almost same place they are and that. I don't see an issue with it.
hey, before we get too far, have we updated our permit system at all?
Mark has actually sent out a draft copy right now, and we're going through that. I'm gonna talk with him a little bit about it afterwards.
Okay,
Yep.
very good.
So I'm assuming, because it's actually two different companies, we need to do these
You
one
wanna
at a
do them
time probably.
separately?
Yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve that request.
I'll second it.
okay, motion carries to approve the Indiana and Michigan request to change poles between 300 East and 101.
So the next one is for Pike Engineering, but they are doing work for I&M, like a subcontractor. It is on County Road 950 South between 150 West and US Highway 27. And they're gonna be replacing 2 poles and some guy wires and a couple of their attachments they have on the pole. So it's just a couple poles here in that area.
Is that
Again,
right at Ceylon? It's 950
Yes.
South Ceylon.
yep, right there by the new doctor's office.
Oh, gotcha.
There again, didn't see any problem with it, so.
What's the name of the firm again?
Pike Engineering,
Move that we permit Pike and Engineering to do their work on 950 South as necessary.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
so the next item. And I'll just tell you this as a filler quick, up to this point, I looked right before I left, and we have sold 485 buggy plates so far this year. And we don't keep track of the numbers like by date, but it seems like we're a little bit ahead of where we were last year,
What did we sell last year altogether?
about 2,700. We usually get a rush more toward the end. So
They have up until May
15th.
15th.
And just as a reminder, okay, when you sell a buggy plate, there is a little tag that's attached to their buggy that matches the plate.
Correct.
Do you give them that new tag too? Or?
Yes, the new tag and the new plate, both they receive. Yes, so every year there's a new tag that goes on and a new plate.
And just as a reminder, if an Amish family has more than one buggy, they're expected to purchase a plate for each buggy?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So the next item I have, we received our monthly draw for the MVH, and I handed those out earlier. So for the month of March, the MVH draw was $322,823.57. $322,823.57.
Which is actually less than a year ago.
Yeah,
Well, it's less than a year ago last month, but we're still ahead for the year.
Not by much.
yeah, about $6,000.
Not by much,
Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
so we'll take, on the other side, the local road and street draw for the month of March, $47,176.16.
Which is
40
also less than last
Yep,
year, but
correct.
still year to date,
We're
slightly
ahead.
above,
Yes.
couple thou. Okay.
And there again, go ahead. I mean, I better let you finish and then I can. So yes, that's our monthly draws.
And quite frankly, if anyone wants to understand the formula for local roads and streets and MVH, good luck. I move we accept both, Steve.
I'll second.
All right, motion carries to enter that report into the record.
No, and the one thing to remember, it's always, to me, it's interesting and it's just, it is what it is, but as a reminder for everyone, just because fuel prices go up, doesn't mean we get any more money. The amount we get off the gas tax is a set percentage. So,
Hopefully, things will straighten out rather quickly and everybody can benefit.
yeah. But, yep, that's all I have, other than I will say, we are preparing 000 south of 218 and talking about road closures. The guys have been replacing the culvert pipes down there ahead of the paving. And yes, every day we do have a closure. We do call the sheriff's department, let them know, let the bus garages know. And generally, we try not to start before 8 and we are done by 3. So
That
it
goes
typically
pretty
doesn't
quick.
affect them.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes pretty quick.
What's the, do you have an exact date from 218 to Sealand Road?
No, we have reached out to the company that was awarded to Brooks and they haven't got back with us yet. But obviously this time of year for them is pretty busy.
Okay, are you
Yeah.
going to try to do that mile section from 000 on 700 to 27 at the same time?
Correct. That'll be at the same time. Yep. So yeah, talking about road closures, yeah, our guys, we but we let them know. And once the website's up and running, we can, like Steve said, we can let them know a day ahead of time when we know we're gonna do it the next day.
Yeah.
So
And
yes,
speaking of Brooks, how many miles of Brooks paving do you have on your schedule for this summer?
this year we have 4.5.
4.5. So
Yeah,
that right there is most of it right there. 000 and the mile from 700 to 27.
yeah, that's about, that'll be 3-4 miles. And then up here on 300 North, when we had that paved over to the county line last year, we also had asked them to go east. That road narrows down quite a bit right there, and so we asked them to go east about that first half mile.
Okay.
They didn't get to it last year, so they're gonna do that this year also.
So just anyone tuning in or anyone that's interested, approximately how much money do you have to budget for 1 mile of Brooks paving?
This year, the 4 miles was, the prices were, we had very good prices this year. So the 4 miles was almost 800,000, I believe. So probably not quite 200,000 a mile.
That's why we can't pave very many roads
Yeah.
with Brooks.
Yep. So
Okay.
yeah,
Thanks, Brad, for the info.
All right, thank you, Brad.
thanks, guys.
Do we need to approve, the highway department, report? I move that we do, Steve.
Second.
All right. Motion carried. All right, Rick's not in here.
Dan, I know he's not here, but
Do you wanna talk about?
yeah, we can, between you and I. Okay,
Yeah.
Rick met with us earlier in the day because he had a problem over at the courthouse. He's addressing that. But he gave us a sketch of the courthouse drains for the bathrooms upstairs and downstairs. Steve, we've talked about this briefly off
We
and on.
have.
A very good sketch. He's identified the outlet for the sewage for the courthouse goes out the east side of the courthouse, angles south, east, and dumps into, we're not sure, Decatur. We're not sure if it dumps into if it's separated or not. We're still trying to figure it out. The mayor's here, Steve, and Matt Dyer's here from council. So, but it sounds like, Rick's totally on top of it. We may not want to dig in too much because we have early voting coming on at the courthouse and those facilities, need to be open, as our clerk Wells knows. So, Shelley, we are working on it. We're gonna get it fixed. Rick's made a lot of headway in just the last couple of weeks, Dan.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand with this.
Well, one of the nice things was Josh Zimmerman came over and helped locate
Right.
the outlet, because we didn't even know where the outlet was. So then they were able to camera and jet in from the clean out on the east side of the courthouse. So, that was a big step to knowing what we actually have, so. Yeah. So, all right. Other than that, I don't know, since Rick's not here, I don't know if we have anything else on building maintenance. He is kind of updating the quotes to, improve or add on to the circuits that are generator supported at the courthouse. So, so he's working on that too. So, all right. We've got we want to allow a little bit of time for a Justice Center update. We've got Dave Scholl and Tony Vi here from Elevatus. Did you want to give us any new information today? Okay, all right. Well, come on up and we'll be glad to hear what you've got to present.
Hey, Dave.
Morning, Commissioner.
Tony,
All right,
it's been a while.
it has been a bit. We do have a presentation to show.
Yeah, if you want to do the HDMI thing, I'll unplug this and.
VAI is last name, VAI.
Switch your seats, would you?
I hadn't seen Tony for a while. I thought maybe he bought a house in the Bahamas. and-
That's on my list to do.
Probably gonna be. So if you're gonna bring that
We
up
got
on both
his
screens?
share.
Or
I'm
how's
gonna
that
bring it
work?
up.
It automatically comes up, I think.
Oh, automatically, so we may lose Steve's.
Well, he's still,
You'll still be there, but we may lose your visible picture, okay?
let me know when you're ready. We'll hit.
Or he lost his sound, so.
What a loss.
What a loss.
Yeah.
We don't wanna see all his vacation.
Yeah.
pictures.
But you'll be able to hear anyhow, right, Steve?
Good deal.
Yeah.
Can't they do two?
Yeah, we can, well, we'll share their screen and then I think Steve will still be in the top.
Yeah, yeah. it's big.
Okay.
That might be.
Let's see what
yeah.
it looks like.
There it is.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna hit share and call and see what happens. There.
Yeah, I see it.
Good,
Alright.
good.
All right, good. All right, well, good morning.
Morning, Dave.
So
Can I-
we,
Can I enter into this?
yeah, go
One,
ahead.
one of the things that we have asked Elevatus to do is to look at placing 3 departments in a building on our property north of Peacekeepers Way. So I assume that's what this presentation will represent.
It's actually east, but east of the jail,
Right, right.
but
Okay.
it can go,
Got,
Yeah.
gotcha,
It's flexible.
okay.
Yeah,
But
and,
yeah,
and what,
in an independent building.
right,
Yeah.
yes.
since we're now live for people in the community to watch, whomever might be watching, I'd just like to say that, you know, the commissioners, at least my part of this as being one commissioner, my decisions are based on what's best long-term for Adams County citizens, whether it's our grandchildren or future leaders, whether they be county or city officials. You know, so I use a visionary approach in all decisions I make in county government. The other thing I might mention to people that might be viewing in, as commissioners, Stan, Steve, and I, our responsibility on a project of this nature is twofold. One, it's our responsibility to identify a location for a facility. Our second function is then to express to our county council the needs of the project that we are considering. So our job is twofold. One, identify a location, let the needs be known. And then it goes to county council. They are responsible for the fiscal dollars countywide. And it's their responsibility to fund what we are recommending. So I just wanted to put that out there as a review for anyone who might be tuning in. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
Good, Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, so we took a look at locating both Superior and Circuit Court and probation at the jail site. And here's an image of the jail site. North is up. You can see the cul-de-sac there. The jail is in the center there, and you can see the parking lot and the road circulating around the jail. So we're going to show you 2 options. One is on the west side of the jail, and one is on the east side of the jail. And again, it can go north of Peacekeeper Way also.
Is
So
the dark square the jail?
yes, in the center,
Yeah.
right there. Yep. So where it goes on the site really doesn't matter. But this is just options showing you how it could fit on the site. So
Dave or Tony, I hate to interrupt, but one of the assumptions I've always had is that our jail was built with the opportunity to expand that jail. Is anybody aware of the anticipated direction of expansion of the jail if we would need to do that?
yeah, we'll show it on this next site. This
Okay,
next
very
site,
good.
Yeah. What
next
Steve's
site,
talking about, an extra pod on jail,
right?
if I'm not mistaken, when we planned that jail and put the infrastructure in, that extra pod would go west. Is
Correct.
that correct, Sheriff?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
go ahead.
So here's the slide that shows, see the red box there? Tony's gonna point it out there. That's the future housing pod. So that would hook on the west side. It would exit directly out of the what is now an intake door, sally port right there. So it can make the connection there and you do enter into the future pod. And that pod could be various sizes, but that shape there replicates the same size that is currently built on the east side. So that's where the future housing pod would go. So in this concept, we located the courts just north of that. That's the blue box. And this would be a 2-story structure with both Superior and Circuit Court on the first floor, and then the probation department on the second floor. So the second floor would be probation and then a lot of roof over what's remaining of the space below the courts. Here's the image that shows how that could work. The green would be a connector from that sally port on the west, and you walk down a corridor. So you'd escort the inmates through the intake area, down this corridor in green, and into the back of the courtroom. So that's how you would get, and there's the green connector right there. So you'd feed into the back of the courtrooms where you'd have holding cells where the inmates would be held until they're taken into court. So again, that's a 2-story concept. Here's both courts. One is Superior Court, one is Circuit Court. So that's about the footprint that would fit on that site. Now, how that is oriented can be for a future discussion as to how that, if it's oriented this way or turn 90 degrees, but nonetheless, that's the footprint that would take to house both courts. The public entry would be on the north. You can see the large lobby there. Somewhere we'd have an entrance into those courts, and then the public would enter either of the courts through a vestibule into the well of the courts. So that's the footprint for the first floor. The second floor would be.
What's the approximate size of that footprint?
Good question. I can't tell you. Oh, the dimensions are on there. I don't know the square footage. There's a dimension to be.
No, not the square footage, yeah, the dimensions.
You can blow that up. Can you blow that up?
Trying to do it without the mic.
Oh, I've got it right here.
Yeah.
It's 128 feet by 106, 156.
Both
Yep.
stories is the same dimension.
Yeah.
Or
Just-
approximately.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
yeah, got it. Okay,
Thank you.
go ahead.
The second floor footprint would look about like this. This is the probation department. And again, it's not a finished layout. We just wanted to get the square footage so the probation would fit in this rectangle. And the whole exercise was to get a pricing, a cost estimate. So we would have to do a lot of work with Jack and his department to make sure it all arranges properly. But this would be the size of the footprint. So you can see the footprint would be on the left, or it could be on the right, doesn't matter, but the rest would be roof over the courts below. You could theoretically design this to go up in the future so that you could add the rest of the square footage on the right side of the screen for community corrections or some other department in the future. But you could theoretically do that and have a full second floor then.
So this is 1.5 stories?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the footprint of the building that would be, that we showed on the west side of the jail. We also looked at another option, and this is putting the courts and the probation on the east side of the site, east of the jail. And this is the footprint of everything being on one floor. So both courts and probation would be on the first floor on the east side of the jail. And again, this could be anywhere. We just placed it there as a placeholder. You could put this building across the street, north of Peacekeeper Way, but it'd be the same footprint. The protrusion you see on the right side of that blue box would be the vehicle sally port. So you could either walk inmates to court, or you could put them in a vehicle in the vehicle sally port behind the jail and drive them over to this other vehicle sally port and get them into the court complex. This would be, again, the approximate size of that complex. Both courts are on the left side, Superior and Circuit. And then probation is all the spaces on the right side of that image. So that's the footprint of a single floor building with the vehicle sally port. Again, right now we're just showing a drive-in, back out vehicle sally port. You could do a drive-through, but Right now, we're just
Do
showing
you
it
have
as a,
dimensions of that one story?
you're gonna have to get it because I don't have it. I didn't print that one off.
I know you brought Tony along for some reason.
210. 128.
128.
Thank you.
26,880 square feet, guys.
The mathematical guy.
Now, again, this is not a proposed floor plan. We'd have to work with the judges and Jack and make sure it all works. For instance, right now, we just put the probation on the right side of the building, but now it's blocking all the windows for the judge and all his offices. So we wouldn't want that. So, but again, it's a square footage that we used and gave to Garmong to do a cost estimate.
Very good.
So. So the estimate is,
Are
18.
there two different estimates? Or are they both the same for both?
This is actually the original estimate that they did for the building that we showed you on the west side, the two-story.
Okay.
I talked with Jason yesterday just to pick his brain on, okay, if we went to a one-story building, what would the cost be? And we talked that through, and essentially, it's gonna be about a wash. Because even though if you go to a one-story building, you're getting rid of the elevators, you're getting rid of the stairs. Yeah, the steel is gonna be less, but on the other hand, you have more roof because you got the one story instead of two-story. We're adding a vehicle sally port. So there's trade-offs, but it's gonna be in the same ballpark. We got rid of the connector, but we're adding the vehicle sally port. So in the end, it's about a wash. But given all that, they said that they're being very conservative at this point with this number. And they felt that we could, with some work, and there's some fat in this building, as Steve, you mentioned, maybe some spaces that we don't need. You looked over the program. But again, it's a placeholder of square footage right now. We could probably skinny that down. We can look at the finishes and maybe not go as fancy as maybe normal. And they felt they could comfortably get this down to 16 to 17 million of construction cost, even though we're 18.9 basically on this estimate here. But they're being very conservative in this estimate. They've got a lot of contingencies that
So
as we
this
get
does
through
not
design,
include soft costs or.
this does not include soft costs.
And you're basically saying tack on 20 to 25% soft?
Yeah, and that's another thing. At some point, we need to sit down with you and really get a handle on what those soft costs would be. All the financing costs, the FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Just start to compile all those numbers so we have a handle on what those soft costs would be. But if they can get the construction costs down to 16 or 17 million, then getting it to a $20 million project is probably doable if we can get everything in hand as far as soft costs. Just see what those are.
Very good. Once again, that's exactly what we've asked you to do to this point. So you've done it in a week's time. And of course, you had a lot of groundwork laid previously, so.
Now, does
Yeah.
construction cost, would that involve dirt work? Would that involve parking or not?
Yes, that includes parking,
It includes parking
utilities, yep.
and, building a pad or whatever is needed, for the structure itself.
Oh, yeah, yep. Yep. That's all the site work and the building
Site
itself.
work is a good word.
Yep.
Part of the reasons why, in my mind, I asked them to co-locate both courts and probation was, from a functional standpoint, if we co-locate both courts, then we have one point of entry, one security team, and that costs. So a real big priority for me is to co-locate both courts. But also from a functional standpoint, you know, the interaction between probation and the courts is just a regular daily basis. So, you know, that's why I pretty much was insistent on co-locating both courts and probation. So obviously there's additional departments in our judicial system that that we have to consider. This would still leave, community corrections, not in this project as it's presented. And it would not leave, the clerk, the prosecutor, and public defender in this project. So this is kind of a minimal, this would be a minimal option to co-locate the courts and get Superior Court in a safe and functional facility. So,
I might add too, that, everyone has to stay in their lane. We as commissioners stay in our lane. Council needs to stay in their lane as far as funding is concerned. But I think, without getting into council business, I think the figures you presented is something that council could work with without considering a referendum, which in all likelihood is not gonna pass, and also without touching the tax base that they're gonna be considering if they need to go there. I think when you talk 20 million or less, perhaps with soft cost, this is something that the council, I think, might be willing to work with seriously.
yeah, I don't know exactly what that dollar figure is that council is gonna give us as a cap, but in my mind, it doesn't solve all the issues that we've attempted to solve. One of the big issues obviously is community corrections in a rented building 2 miles outside of town. It doesn't answer that. The other thing is it basically vacates the second floor of the courthouse. And it's just kind of a minimal answer to what we've tried to do for the last 2 years. So, this gives us a minimal dollar amount to do the minimal things that we have tried to do in the big picture. So I guess in my mind, I certainly appreciate this estimate and this opportunity, but I am still looking to explore other options that would be available downtown. So, yeah.
Stan, I appreciate all that you've done, and I don't want to seem like I'm in opposition. I just want to say that in a recent study that our Community Corrections Association for the state of Indiana released, there are currently 22 out of 78 community corrections agencies that have merged with probation under the umbrella of court services, yours being Wabash County. Whether or not Adams County ever decides to do that may not even be during my lifetime, but not putting community corrections and probation under the same roof would greatly hinder the management of a court services program when and if that ever happened in Adams County. So I just wanted to say that. Obviously, community corrections needs to find a new home in the next few years. So wherever you put us, we'll be happy to be there. But looking into the long-term future, you may want to seriously consider how community corrections and probation could still be under the same roof.
Well, and I think, that taken into consideration, community corrections is an extremely valuable component to our judicial system, considering the ankle bracelets that you have that keep people out of jail, the education programs that drop recidivism. And so, to me, that's an extremely important part. And whether you co-locate with probation, that's an opportunity that would be a forward-looking opportunity for sure. So, as of right now, you're both separate, and we'll have to deal with it right now separate, but with the opportunity to look forward, that's a very good train of thought.
Well, back to Dave and Tony. Okay, when you're looking at the 1-story structure, if my memory serves me right, the 2-story structure would actually have space available for community corrections. Is that correct? Remember,
Yeah,
it showed one half of the upper floor not being, right there, back there, right there, the white square.
Yeah.
Is that under roof on the second story?
could be, we could build that as a shelled-in space, that you could develop for future community corrections.
Or
we could do it now.
the second question would be, on the 1-story structure, would this be planned the same as we did the jail? would the infrastructure be there for further expansion of future elected officials?
Yeah, I mean, we could
Same as
easily,
the mod for the jail.
we could easily set it up that way.
Well, I think that'd be a must, you know, if you're gonna consider what Ian's has talked about, you know, what's happening, what you just told us is probably gonna be the trend. It's probably gonna happen. It's a matter of how soon Adams County wants to move that way.
Right, 10 years ago, I would have never said that, never heard of it.
Well, 10 years from now, there'll be other things that you wouldn't even think of.
Right.
So that's why I say visionary.
I guess this being said, and this is kind of more for Steve and Doug, I would like to continue to explore our options downtown.
Clerk,
So the clerk of courts office works together with the courts. So if you're totally separating that, we'll do a hindrance for people that have to pay their fees. If they're already at Fort Claire out there, they have to drive all the way back to wherever we're located. So we've got to really think of how everybody merges with everybody's offices.
and we also have to think about what the county can afford to spend.
Excuse me, Mr. Ballman, but this is something we've worked for 3 years on a study, and then everything got scrapped.
Well, excuse me, we worked on this project back before we built the jail.
Well, that was an entirely different project. That was combining Superior Court with the jail, and that obviously didn't happen. So I think we need to Shelley's point, we have obviously put our priorities as the top is safety. The next priority for me has always been efficiency and functionality, but we also have to look at dollars. So if we're looking at a minimal project that only solves part of the problem, I don't know that it's fair not to continue to explore other options that can solve the entire problem and then compare dollars. But just by looking at a minimal project, I think we would be remiss by not looking at an option that would solve all of our issues for safety, efficiency, functionality, and cost. So I'm just convinced we need to explore other options downtown particularly. So I think this would solve our problems for Superior Court, and it would take Circuit Court out of the courthouse, which I'm not sure that's a problem that needs to be solved. And it would take probation out of a second floor with no ADA access and for egress. So it would solve the problem for Superior Court and probation, but it wouldn't do anything for long-term for our judicial system. So I guess I would be like to hear from Steve too.
Yeah, and again, I'm still wrestling with how we get to a project that we can action sooner than later. I think there's a need there, an urgent need that we need to solve. But how do we do that in a way that doesn't limit the ability of future office holders and future commissioners and future council persons to do what they need to do? And so in my mind, I'm trying to think through what gives us the most, what solves our immediate short-term problem in a cost-effective way, but gives us a long-term opportunity to continue to build better and more efficient county government. And I at this point, again, we're probably still going to look at other options, but at this point, doing something out at the jail site feels like it solves our near-term problem. But it also gives us the flexibility to continue to add and and move, if it's community corrections or if it's clerk's office or whatever, into an area that is that delivers the most efficient services for our county residents. And I appreciate the desire to have it downtown. As I've told you guys, given all things being equal, I would prefer we leave county government downtown Decatur. But if we can't do that and provide the most efficient, effective services for the county residents, then I think we need to move it out to the jail site, which is a site that was purchased a long time ago to give us exactly this kind of flexibility. So I'm willing to look at other options, but at this point, I don't want to be sitting here 5 years from now or 4 years from now and not having done anything because we shot for the stars and could never get it figured out. So I would rather us be able to do something. Something's better than nothing. I don't know that we can afford the whole enchilada at this point. And if we were trying to build everything in one efficient, effective governmental complex, I don't see the site available to do that in downtown Decatur.
Well, I've presented an option downtown Decatur that I think can be done either in one phase or two phases. I think it gives us the options to co-locate courts, probation, clerk, and community corrections. And I would ask your permission to continue to explore that option. So we do have a comparison, because until we do that, we have the price on this, but we have nothing to compare it to for that second option.
Well, I don't have any problem if that's the way you want to go, but I agree with Steve 100%. We've had an urgent need for the last 15 plus years and we haven't addressed it.
Yeah.
We haven't addressed it.
Stan and Doug, I'm fine if we want to go ahead and ask Elevatus to prepare a third option using Stan's thoughts on doing something on the current courthouse site. Again, I'm not against that. I just, we have looked at one option. We priced out one option to go across the street and build a building, and the number was $35 million. And I don't think we can do that. My understanding from discussions with council, I don't believe we can do that without a tax increase, and I don't believe they're going to have an appetite for that.
And if we go that direction and get a cost, I'd like for you guys to consider parking and the additional costs there. And to purchase a property to do for, and if it involves a street, consider the time frame. Cause the mayor's here, he knows better than anyone. You don't shut down a street overnight without the utilities being considered and everything else.
I guess my question right now, like for Steve and Doug in particular, would you be willing to entertain an additional proposal for what I presented?
Okay, I'll go along with that. I want a time frame set with it. I want a time frame. We can't afford Elevatus. Thank goodness you guys are willing to go back to your office and have another drawing. How many times have you done this? And guys, you don't work for nothing. We don't expect you to. But we can't continue kicking the can down the road. Let's get a cost estimate. And as commissioners, I said we got two jobs. One, identify a location and present the needs and make it cost effective for council to take some action. Because if council is going to base their decision on location to fund a project, if they're going to base their decision on location, that's shallow thinking. It's not visionary thinking. So yeah, I'll go along with you, Stan.
Guys, I'm good with that. We'll take a look at another option.
Well, I'll present a proposal on what it would take to price out another option, particularly similar to what I presented. Was it last week or the week before?
2 weeks.
But that that would be, the option that I presented would co-locate both courts, probation, clerk, prosecutor, public defender, all downtown. So I guess I would like to entertain a
And community
proposal.
corrections.
And community corrections, yes. To,
And that, I forget, Stan, did that involve or did it not involve moving the Peace Monument?
it did not.
Okay,
It involves moving the brick monument.
That might have to be remodeled, yes.
very, very good. Let's
If
keep
you're-
moving.
I will bring a proposal on what a cost would be to develop that proposal and let you guys see what you think.
Good.
But I think we owe it to all of our judicial system partners to solve the problems that we have, you know, for safety, efficiency, functionality, dollars, and long-term needs. So I think those are all things that we need to consider, so anyway, that's kind of my thoughts, and I appreciate the discussion. We have Ian here from Community Corrections, Shelley Bright's here at the clerk's office. We also have the mayor and one of our councilmen, Matt Tyler. So I don't know if there's, I don't want this discussion to go on and on, but if you have any comments, you know, this would be a good time to entertain those too, if you'd like. So it's up to you.
I'll speak up. Obviously, this has been discussed for some time, at least who was on the committee from the courts? My understanding that both judges, the prosecutor, the mayor and our council, who else was involved in that?
Stan, I'm sorry, I can't see who's speaking.
Matt Dyer.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, the question was, who was all on the original committee? So when I put the committee together in March of 24, we had Judge Kukulhan, Judge Conrad, the prosecutor, Jeremy, the public defender, Brad Weber. We had Shelley Bright was on the committee. We had two people from county council, John Summers and Fred Velez. And we had the sheriff. We had our county attorneys represented either with Clayton or with Mark, either one. And the mayor was on the committee from the start. I don't know if I'm missing anybody.
City attorney.
Community corrections.
Community corrections
Probation.
and probation
And city attorney.
and city attorney. So
Okay.
when we began meeting, the first thing we identified was what facilities do we currently have? What needs do we currently have? And what solutions can we propose to solve the issues that we have? And so we initially identified 5 locations for a possible solution in a new judicial center. And so out of those, we started off with focusing on one that didn't materialize as options. Then we moved to another focus, and that didn't materialize as a practical solution. So now,
That didn't materialize because of cost.
the first option didn't materialize because we weren't able to obtain control of the property.
Sure.
The second option didn't materialize because we felt the cost was too high for what it did. So,
So in this option, you're trying to determine an option that is less than 20 million.
well, that's an arbitrary number. That's,
Because you believe that's what council will fund.
well,
Well,
I don't know.
That's their,
It's
that's
an
their
ar-
job.
Yeah, to be honest, that's kind of Doug's number. I don't know what the number is that they will or will not support. So,
You know, one of the things, Matt, I'm glad you brought that up on committee. Because when Stan was talking about the committee makeup, I can only think of one person south of 124 that was on that committee, and that was the sheriff. And the commissioners represent the entire county.
Sure. But there's a reason for 92 counties, it was all located in the middle of the county seat. And I think that's still the case, if I'm not mistaken. The business of judges happens in the middle of the county seat. And until all of those options are eliminated, I would like just for you to consider still looking at that.
And that's what we just decided.
Sure, yeah, anything can be done. I ate lunch here in 7th grade, and now it's a nice commissioner's building. So lots of things can be done. They drew this up in a week. And I mean, they can draw up lots of ideas. Again, can we fund it? That's county council's decision. I just implore you to keep looking at that. I realize it's been a long time looking at this, but I also think it's important when the judges, the prosecutor, the clerk, when they speak up, their opinion should matter too. And it's one thing you have to weigh. When the mayor wants it here, when the city wants it here. I also heard in some of this discussion back and forth, well, we tried this years ago and it didn't happen. Well, in all due respect, that was 3 mayors ago. And that was a whole different makeup of city planners and county planners. So today is different than then. And we're obviously fighting for the city and want to explore all those options first.
As well you should.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say.
Well, very
Thanks,
good.
Matt.
I appreciate the comments. Mayor, anything? Well,
The only thing I'll add to that is, again, selfishly, you know, we would love to see it stay in our downtown. There's been a lot of work in our downtown since Mayor Schultz started. The other thing is, there's a quick solution of $20 million with, you know, you said you didn't want to pass it on to future public officials, knowing that you're going to have to move the clerk and the prosecutor and the public defender and all that. So that $20 million is really 35 million. I mean, because that add-on is going to have to happen at some point. We all know that. So a quick fix maybe is not the right solution. It looks cheaper right now. The other thing, Doug, is you made a comment about the committee made up of no one south of 124. Committee was made up of people that are going to use this building day in and day out for the rest of their careers. There's no residents from Decatur that was on it either.
Right,
These were all people that were going to use this building.
right. But the entire county's gonna pay for it.
Understand that.
Right.
Understand that. The reason it was made up is asking the people who are going to use this building what they feel they need. So again, I'm thankful that you're going to look at some more solutions. I think there's something can be done downtown, and I'm glad that you're opening that up.
okay.
Thanks,
well,
Mayor. Hey,
I-
thanks for coming in, Matt. Dan, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Any other comment for this discussion? Otherwise, we'll move on.
The only other comment I will make is I sat on the community corrections board as well. From its inception, Judge Sugar asked me to serve. And we still have people walking down Pickway Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have people walking to probation down Winchester Street to get out there. I mean, I don't think the community realizes how many people are on probation. How many people use community corrections. It's a lot more than I think the average person knows.
Yeah.
Commingling all that, I think whether it happens now or like Ian says, the trend is coming, it's gonna happen. Very likely.
Again, I'll reiterate that too. I think adding community corrections years ago was a great thing for our community. They've done wonders, they really have. And I think not having them in this first build or this first drawing, I think is a bad idea. I think they need to be involved too right away.
Comment well taken, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. If that's all the comments, once again, I appreciate your work, Dave and Tony. You efficiently and good timely way done everything that we've asked you to do. And so we'll see how we can move ahead here.
Our pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Hey,
Caleb was sleeping in today. All right. Thank you very much. Good discussion. I appreciate all the input. Mark, what do you have for us today?
I don't have anything in particular other than after the meeting, I need to meet with Brad and that's about it. I don't know, Clayton, you have anything?
No, not really. I mean, update related to, Country Acres, the last single property owners reached out to me. An enforcement action had begun, but, he's reached out to me. I think actually he owns 2 properties or 3 out there. I'll be sending him a proposed abatement agreement either this week or next. And then the remainder will move forward, with enforcement actions. And then probably not next week, because I am out. But the week thereafter, I'll be bringing to you all the petition, to begin the process of vacating Bridge 163 and the related roadway.
Very good. Have anything for the attorneys, Doug? or
I
Stephen?
don't have for attorneys. I guess we got Shannon on yet.
Okay, Shannon, what do you have for us today?
I don't have anything, but thank you.
Okay, good.
Have anything else, Steve?
No, I'm good. Great discussion today, guys. I really, we all, we're all trying to do the very best we can for the citizens of Adams County. And sometimes we have different thoughts and different viewpoints, but I'm confident that we'll coalesce around a good solution and figure it out.
All right, Doug, anything else?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, then I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead, Steve.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Good work, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Angie, one question. One of those numbers, the first one. Go back to the ABS, Allied Benefits thing. I want to be sure I get that right number. Well, I didn't hear the last. Allied Benefits.